Hey everybody, Dr. Andrew Blackwood here, also known as Coach Drew, and I am just going to share the rest of that sermon that I started last time I posted, Listening with Love. So I hope you enjoy it and let me know what you think. Most importantly, let me know what it's like when you try it out. Until we connect next, continue to learn, heal, and grow.
Have I made my point about how important listening is? Right? Good? Good. Everybody's with me. Did everybody agree with me that it's really important? Okay. So, can everybody repeat everything that I just said? No, no, no. So, is that evidence that you didn't listen? Right? Because you can't repeat every word? No. It's not necessary, in some senses, to hear every word. It's more important to hear the heart of the message. Right? I don't want to stand up here like I'm perfect, okay? I am very far from perfect. A lot of people who know me, they don't know me so well because when I tell them that I get upset with my kids and even my wife, they're like, "You get upset? You just look like you're always happy." No, that's not the case. I am far from perfect, and my children will tell you that. They will tell you that easy because some kids, they don't have filters and they just share your business. Right? Some adults don't have filters either. So, one of the things that my 8-year-old often says to me, which reminds me, Andrew, slow down and listen. She's like, "You're just not listening. You don't care. You don't care. You just don't get it." You guys ever heard that? You just don't get it. And she's right. Because sometimes I don't want to get it. I just don't want to get it. Listen, it's time to go. This is not time to listen. So I know that it's not always easy, okay? I'm going to give you the good stuff, but I don't want you to think that I think that, it happens all the time with ease, right? Nothing that is really, really good happens easily for most people, right? It takes practice. So in those moments when she says, "Daddy, you just don't get it," that's a reminder for me. Slow down and get it. Slow down and get it. So, in order to get it, in order to help people feel a sense of significance, what we get to do is employ CPA. Okay? Not a CPA. Okay? We're not about keeping accounts and ledgers and who's right and who's more right and who's less wrong. That's not what we're talking about. We are talking about CPA. And I would have kept you in suspense, but I had already sent off the notes, so the answers are already in front of you. So, C, curiosity. Like myself, when I'm watching TV, I'm so curious. I want to know what's going to happen. I don't want to miss a beat, right? I don't want my daughter interrupting me. "Daddy, did you hear that? Daddy, did you?" "Yes, I heard it. But now I didn't hear what came after that because you're talking to me," right? We want to be curious. Now, here are some assumptions about curiosity that will help your communication. Okay? We get to allow curiosity to be genuine. Okay? Genuine. Just because you ask a question doesn't mean you actually want the answer. Okay? Right? Sometimes we can ask a question to prove our point. That's not helpful. Right? If you already know the answer to the question, why are you asking the question? That's not the genuine kind of curiosity that leads to help and healing. And so, no, it doesn't. Okay? Here's an extra tip. If you're going to ask a question, don't start the question with the word "why." Okay? Don't do it. Why puts people on the defensive? Why did you do that? Because it ends up being a statement in disguise. Okay? When I say, "Why did you do that?" What's the statement that I'm making? That was dumb, right? It's not a real question, right? If we infuse the question with genuine curiosity, it would sound something more like this: "Help me understand. What was going through your mind when you did that?" You're not buying it? No, no. That's because y'all are mean. You got some mean people in here. I ask that question to people all the time, right? But or another way, okay, so please, literally, I want to know. I really want to know your perspective. Where were you coming from? Because the truth is, many things go through people's minds because their minds are not our minds, and we don't know what they're thinking, right? So asking a genuine question. Okay, so help me understand. How did you get from there to here? These are the kinds of conversations I try to have with my children. Try. Okay? Because having a conversation with your children is very different than having a conversation with a client. You know why that is, right? Why is it so much harder to talk to people who you love than it is to people who are, a little bit more distant? Why do you guys think that is? Any answers? You don't want to hurt their feelings? Because you like to hurt people who are family? Sometimes, right? You guys got some mean people in this church. I know, right? I fit in. I belong here, right? No, seriously, why are our expectations of our family members and people that we're close to so much higher than everybody else? History. Because we expect, I told you this once, I told you this twice, you should get it. What the heck is wrong with you? Right? But we often forget that people are different. I don't think the way that you think. I don't think the way my wife thinks. I don't think the way that my children think most of the time. But we have these expectations that because I told you this once, twice, 3 times, you're supposed to remember it. That's just not the way it works for me. Right? So sometimes we have these expectations that are unfair and unrealistic. Curiosity helps to bring us back to really listening well. Okay, so avoid the whys. Yeah, I'm a therapist slash coach slash all that. So it is the world I live in. It's the world I love. How many people love getting into their emotions and just, yeah? Wow, yeah, all 2. Yeah, 2. Yeah. Well, you might as well. You can't run from them, right? You might as well get familiar with them. It's so important to be familiar with our emotions because if you are not familiar with them, then you won't be able to navigate them well, right? You won't be able to manage them well. One of the things that I love doing is journaling because it keeps me sane. It is a form of prayer for me, right? I write to God and I pray, and it keeps me sane. How does it do that? Well, it helps me not to be confused about my own self. Do you know that you can feel many emotions in a given moment? Right? You can feel multiple emotions in one moment. And each emotion is going to be attached to a thought. And those thoughts are also sometimes attached to beliefs. And those beliefs we live by. Right? Sometimes we get confused and we don't understand why people don't understand us because we don't understand ourselves. Right? So it's so important to be aware of what you're feeling because what you feel on the inside eventually comes out. When you navigate your inner world well, then navigating the outer world gets so much easier. Right? Here's one of the beautiful things about listening. And I think it helps us to be very human. I find the most complex part about being human is having emotions and thoughts and beliefs that are in conflict with each other. I value integrity. It's one of the most important things to me in the world. And growing up, I had a problem with lying. Okay, I was good at lying. I was really good at lying. Because I came from a culture where your parents weren't afraid to, give you a little something when you're out of line. Right? That's just the way it was. So, you don't want to get caught, you hide stuff, right? You get really good at that. But what's interesting is in the culture where you're afraid, then you don't get to really practice being honest. And if you not telling the truth to other people, the truth is, after a while, you're not really going to tell the truth to yourself, right? And certain patterns, they happen in us as kids, and unless we work through them, they keep happening as we get older. And they don't happen every day. They just happen when the stakes get high, when tough times are here, when you're in a position where there's a risk to be honest. Believe it or not, when we listen to ourselves, it helps us to listen to other people. I was in a situation not too long ago, and I'll wrap up with this, and then we'll break up into groups. And let me tell you, I was so mortified with myself because I was not honest. I'm a believer. I'm a big-time Christian. I love Jesus. Jesus loves me. And when it came down to it in this situation, I was just not honest. It was a work situation, and I was just scared that I was not going to be able to support my family, so I was not honest. If I was journaling as well as I, wanted to in that moment, I would have realized that beneath that anxiety, beneath that picture of me and my family suffering, was a belief that God wouldn't take care of me. It's so important to pay attention, to listen to ourselves, to address those internal conflicts. Because when we are able to be honest and transparent with ourselves, we get to decide what it is that we want to believe. We get to decide how we want to live. And guess what? That translates to when we talk to other people. Because the way we treat ourselves on the inside is the way we actually treat other people, especially the ones closest to us. If we're impatient with ourselves, if we're not understanding, if we're not kind, patient, and loving with ourselves, it's going to come out with other people. So, all this stuff that we've been talking about, listening well, guess what? It starts here, right? We get to be good to ourselves. We get to listen to ourselves in a way that reaffirms that we belong to God, that we are well loved and well taken care of, and that we are okay. We are safe. We have significance, right? And we have strength. We have the ability to choose what we believe. Listening with love brings so much healing to yourself and to others.